was in a quarantine for 87 weeks.
Nope, we are not doing that again. Andrew, put your pants back on. Hello, ARFCOM family. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Pat, and in today's video, we're going to be checking out the Vortex Radian Carbon. Vortex has sent this out for a couple of months for me to enjoy, and I'll tell you, I have done exactly that. Of course, I'm going to go over to this tripod. I'm going to show you its features. Then we're going to compare it to a slightly cheaper alternative and show where this thing really shines. But first, a word from our sponsor. Oh, I know. Don't look at me like that. Look at me like this through your brand new night vision from TNVC. They're responsible for bringing you today's content, so go check them out at TNVC.com. And of course, we've got a brand new sponsor for 2021. Special thank you to Winchester for providing us with all of the freedom seeds that we'll be using in our range time videos. But yes, considering today's ammo climate, huge thank you to Winchester. We really appreciate that. Of course, you're here for the tripod, so let's go ahead and start looking at this thing. And boom, there it stands, tall and proud, with my Marlin 336 chambered in the old dirty 30. Of course, that was my test pig for the tripod. Managed to take two white-tailed deer with that. One at 178 yards and the other one at 185, mounted up in that tripod. So basically, if it'll give you enough stability for the old dirty 30 to drop deer at those distances, think about what it'll do for your sub MOA bolt gun. It's pretty sweet. So of course the sun isn't shining very much out here, so let me roll in a really nice clip of this setup. Let you see it in some proper sun. Boom, isn't that gorgeous? Now, one thing I've noticed is when we bring out a piece of gear that costs just a little bit more than some alternatives, is the comment section typically points that out. Now, this Radian Carbon does come in at a price point that is just a little bit higher than some competitors. So of course, I brought out a competitor. This is my personal Bog Death Grip. I've owned this one for a while. I've shot several hundred rounds off of it. I've taken 2 deer off of this one as well. But there are some reasons that this one's priced cheaper than the Radian Carbon. Now, the Bog Death Grip can be bought. A lot of times I've noticed it delivered to your door for about 200 bucks. Whereas the Radian Carbon, the MSRP on that one, what they invoiced me, is $8.99. Now, street price, you may be able to find it a little bit cheaper, but there are some solid differences in these. Namely, the head. A lot of people like the saddle because you can just take anything out of your safe and plop it right down in here. It just clamps on to just about any old rifle. I mean, if it ain't wider than this or skinnier than that, it'll fit. But it's definitely not machined and it's not as high quality as the ball head on the Radian Carbon. Also, another point that I think is worth bringing up is the Bog Death Grip's height versus the Radian Carbon. Now, I'm 5'10", which is basically average American height. So basically, when I'm standing up behind this Bog Death Grip, all I do is fully extend the legs, and that gets it up here perfect for me. So now, if you're 6'2", 6'3", you're probably stooping down to reach this thing. So at 5'10", this thing is perfect for me. So now, if you'll look right here, the Radian Carbon is still looking right over the top of this thing, even with a scope standing on top of it. So you fellas that are a little bit higher than 5'10", this Radian Carbon, the comfort may be worth the price. So now, one way that they've kept the cost down on the Bog is that it's made of aluminum. They do offer a carbon fiber as well, but it comes with a little bit of an increased price. But the fact that it's made of aluminum, like I said, I've used these during hunting season, is Tennessee whitetail season, of course, is in the winter. If you grab a hold of this thing by the aluminum and not this little neoprene sleeve, it will draw the heat right out of your hand. It feels like you, by the time you get to the tree stand or the blind or wherever you're hunting from, you've sucked all the heat clean out of your hand, and that bites. Of course, carbon fiber doesn't do that. The carbon fiber is not a heat sink. Also, opening this thing up, like I said, during hunting, when you open this up, there is noise. You hear all that big ring? The carbon fiber is more of a dull thud. it is definitely not as audible. So there are a couple of good benefits that I like about the Radian Carbon that this one just can't offer. Now, I personally own this one, and I'm gonna cry when I send this one back. This one's just a loaner. I hate that I have to send it back because, man, I definitely dig it. I'm gonna have to save up my pennies and make a whole bunch of videos to afford it, but I'll probably ultimately wind up with that Radian Carbon. Okay, so the main feature that I really like about this thing is this ball head. Now, this ball head, for the majority of the time that I tested with it, I had this ball head installed. The reason that I like this ball head is in East Tennessee, our terrain is all over the place. You could be uphill, you could be downhill, it doesn't matter. So basically, like right now, so I can go all the way up the hill and then just pivot and go right down into the river bottoms. So a great deal of adjustability in this ball head. And then for the times that I was in the blind, what is really neat, if you have to get up and out of the blind for some reason, then basically what you can do is you can point your rifle straight to the ground or straight to the sky. And in a hunting blind, I don't know if you've been in very many of them, by the time you get a chair in there and whatnot, it's a little tight. So as you're exiting, you're not hitting the rifle is pinned up, it's secure. You don't have to worry about any accidental discharges from it falling over or anything. It's very nice. So I definitely dig it. Of course, our adjustments on this, we have the big knob. This big knob right here adjusts your tension. So I can make the rifle set still, or we can tighten it up just a little bit to make our movements more gradual. Okay, installed is our ball head. Now we want to swap to our leveling head. It is so easy, it's toolless. Right here on the side, you flip this little lever up, and what that does is releases tension on the head. And then as a safety, you push in right here, and that releases the whole thing. So now let's discard our ball head. And right here is the self-leveling head. Self-leveling head is much simpler. Seems like it's much more bomb-proof, even though that ball head is a solid piece. Of course, it's clicked in. You just take your little lever, flip it down, and there it is. We're locked in. We're ready to go. While I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and show you this Arca Swiss mounting system. Now this right here is the Arca Swiss mounting system. With this Arca Swiss mounting system, I have used rifles, and I have been using this to even put my camera, and I filmed with this tripod. So this fits right to the bottom of my video camera, of course locks right in. And of course I have an M-LOK adapter, which is very similar to this. The M-LOK adapter is what fit my rifle, and that's how I'm mounting my rifle. So super easy to get that thing in there, and when you lock it down, it's in. I mean, it is solid. It is exactly where you put it. So now let's go ahead and put the rifle on this, and I'm gonna demonstrate how this works. Okay, just like the camera, I have a little plate here that fits these M-LOK slots. So many of your popular rifles will have M-LOK slots, and this little plate right here, well, it was about $50 shipped, but I needed it in a hurry. If you're willing to wait your time, you could probably find one just a little bit cheaper. But like I said, I needed this thing and I needed it quick for deer season. So I paid just a little bit more for shipping. But to lay this thing in is super simple. All you do is line that thing up. Of course, just tighten this knob right here. And boom, it's locked in and it is ready to go. So now, one of the trade-offs with this is you just don't quite get the same angles as you do out of the ball head. But in a no-nonsense, really quick, just utilitarian way, this thing I think is superior because there is one simple knob. On the ball head, you got 3 different knobs and you can change all sorts of stuff. And like I said, that's cool, but for just quick target acquisition, if you're just hunting kind of a flat field with coyotes, you pull this thing up, and of course, once you're on target, you just give it a little quick twist like that, and this thing's locked down. So just one real quick, intuitive adjustment, we're on target and we're ready to go. So now let's try this. Like I said, the ball head, yeah, I can't quite get as high as the ball head. Can I get down? Yeah, I can get down in the creek bottom. So, I mean, I have enough adjustability to get down in the creek bottom, but I can't quite make it as high as the ball head. But like I said, no nonsense. Just give this thing a quick twist. She's locked down, ain't moving. I like that. And of course, on the bottom of here, on a windy day, you can tie your bag or a sandbag or something like that and lower that center of gravity and give you just a little bit more stability. So yeah, this thing is definitely cool. I really do like that ball head. Of course, I'd keep both the ball head and the leveling head in my toolbox just for having those, I guess, options, right? All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Vortex Radian Carbon. I know I've enjoyed my 90 days with it. Not too many reviewers can say that they've brought blood with something, put food in the freezer, and then came to you with a review. This thing's definitely gotten its fair share of abuse. So now, if you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Leave us an awesome comment. We'd love to hear from you. But now, I hope you have a wonderful day. I love you.